Hello, my name is Kiriath, and today I've got some news for you. Some good news, some nice news. It is the big FAQ 2 of 2018. So there's 2 FAQs a year. The second one has now landed. It is available to download. I'll put a link in the description as always. There are updates to loads and loads of stuff, as you will see if you go to the FAQs page on the Warhammer community site. Changes to loads of stuff. There are a few things that the Warhammer community guys have actually pointed out as to the stuff that looks kind of interesting, some significant or new things that have been introduced with this. So we'll just take a quick look at, I guess, the highlights. For specifics, you will want to go and have a look at your respective codex. You'll want to go and have a look at the FAQs themselves. We won't go through absolutely everything because that would take days and be incredibly boring. But there is some stuff that is worth highlighting. So there are changes to match play rules, or there are new matched play rules, new beta rules, general FAQs, and errata. So, soup is still off the menu, they point out. They introduced Battle Brothers in the first big FAQ, and they are happy with it. It is now an official rule for match play, legal as of right now, and they will be printing it in this year's chapter approved as well. So that is fairly significant. They are doing balance review stuff with chapter approved in December. There's no points changes for this FAQ. There's like stratagems and command points and stuff, but there's no actual point changes. That's kind of interesting to me, but it does mean that I think chapter approved will have more of a, I was going to say more of a draw, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see what changes in that, actually. Stratagems, there have been minor changes to. So they talked about the a few combos based around certain stratagems dominating, like Smash Captain or Imperial Knight using the Order of Companions, and so they're upping the command point cost of several stratagems in order to limit the number of times they can be used in a single game and to balance their use. That's not all that surprising. I've seen loads of stuff talking about like the Smash stuff, so I'm kind of not shocked that that has happened at all. This I particularly like that there is less death from above. They noticed that the way the fly keyword interacts with charges was resulting in some cases where assault marines and other flying units could stand above or below their foes and make 0-inch charges. Now, even if you can fly, you'll have to measure vertically like everyone else when getting stuck into close combat. I quite like that because that is obviously an oversight. That is a clear, not mangling of the rules, but that's something that was obviously not intended, that was being exploited, and that has now been fixed. Whilst it is funny to charge people from below from a range of 0 inches, I feel like not quite in the spirit of the game. So there are changes to that. So one of the things I really like, which will probably be its own video at some point. This is just a quick update to let you know that this is available and some of the headline changes. They've confirmed how heroic interventions work, so that's nice. And now you can officially summon demons using Renegade Knights. So really, don't give a shit about the rest of it. Who cares? You can allow Renegade Knights to summon demons now. So that's nice. That's a nice change. It's one of those things where I didn't know I wanted that. I actually had no idea that I wanted to be able to summon demons using a Renegade Knight. And then I read it and I was like, hell yes. It turns out I've always wanted that. I just didn't know. So that's quality. I'm immediately going to download and read that because it's awesome. I mean, to be honest, why not? Why not? I mean, if you could have a gun that fires demons, that would also be good, but no, that would be stupid. There are some match play beta rules in there as well. There's also a change to tactical reserves. So this is based on feedback as well, which is, again, is good. I like that they are paying more attention to feedback in general, really. Making tactical reserves a lot simpler. So basically now you can't have anything come in from reserves on the first turn. Because we've changed this rule from its earlier beta iteration, we are keeping it as a beta rule to gather your feedback. As a beta rule, it's not official yet, but we'd like you to try it out and send in your thoughts. So again, this is one of those things where essentially we are testing this rule to see if it works. Obviously, it's no good testing it and then not saying anything. If you are using this rule and if you are testing this rule, you need to tell them whether it works or not. So Tactical Reserves now reads, instead of being set up on the battlefield during deployment, main units have the ability to be set up on teleportariums in high orbit, in ambush, etc. in order to arrive on the battlefield mid-game as reinforcements. When setting up your army during deployment for a matched play game, at least half the total number of units in your army must be set up on the battlefield, and the combined points value of all the units you set up on the battlefield during the deployment phase, including those that are embarked within transports that are set up on the battlefield, must be at least half of your army's total points value, even if every unit in your army has an ability that would allow them to be set up elsewhere. Furthermore, in matched play games, units that are not placed on the battlefield during deployment in order to arrive on the battlefield mid-game as reinforcements cannot arrive on the battlefield during the first battle round. Finally, any unit that has not arrived on the battlefield by the end of the third battle round in match play game counts as being destroyed. So that presumably is to prevent horrendous, insta mangling. It'd be interesting to see what the overall reaction to that is, because it's quite a significant change, I think, and yeah, it'd be interesting to see what the feedback is for that. Yeah, it's something that I'm just finding that interesting, because a big thing about the orcs, one of the most kind of repeated things that I've had in terms of what the orcs will be like when their codex is released, is loads of first turn shenanigans, like teleporting and all of that stuff. So be interesting to see how that's affected, and whether that is even true if they are then trying this beta rule. I mean, obviously it's a beta rule, so it's not set in stone, but it's an interesting move given the stuff I've heard for the orcs. There's also a new stratagem now. There is something called prepared positions. So the player who has the second turn in the first battle round has access to the following stratagem, and it's 2 command points. Prepared positions. Use this stratagem at the start of the first battle round before the first turn begins. Until the end of the first turn, all units from your army that are wholly within your deployment zone, other than Titanic units, receive the benefit of cover, even while they are not entirely on or in a terrain feature. A unit that is already receiving the benefit of cover gains no additional benefit from this stratagem. So that's an interesting stratagem. That's an interesting change. It obviously does cost command points, but it does give you kind of an added resilience for the first turn. So yeah, and they do point out as well, it's kind of to avoid you getting caught on the back foot, while armies with cover ignoring mechanics like the Imperial Fist 9 Warriors now have a neat tactical niche. So it doesn't completely remove the unique points of some armies, but it's an interesting overall stratagem that I quite like that. And finally, there's a final beta rule that they're adding to the game, and it's designed to put some tighter controls on generating command points mid-game. The only thing you should be farming is the skulls of your enemy, as they point out. So, tactical restraints. There are several warlord traits, relics, and abilities that give you a chance to gain or refund command points when you or your opponent either use a stratagem or spend command points to use a stratagem. In matched play games, each player can only gain or have refunded a total of 1 command point per battle round as the result of such rules, regardless of the source. This does not apply to the Moment Shackle or the Sevenfold Chant abilities, or to the Player of the Twilight Warlord trait. In these cases, the ability/warlord trait can refund or gain the player more than 1 command point if the stratagem used costs 2 or more command points to use, but once any command points have been gained as a result of the rule, neither it nor any similar rule can be used to gain any more command points until the next battle round. Also note that this does not apply to command points that are gained or refunded, especially instructed on stratagems. And they give the example of feeder tendrils, agents of Vect, etc. So again, an interesting beta rule. But there you go. There are some interesting changes in there, and it's worth looking at the page as a whole to see if there are any significant changes to your faction, to your codexes. There will be obviously links in the description down below. And I think I'm going to go and have a look at how summoning demons with Renegade Knights works, because that sounds fun as hell. There you have it. Big FAQ 2 is now available. Links down there. Feel free to comment anything you've found that is particularly interesting, any changes that you weren't expecting, or anything that you really like the look of. Click any of the shit if you want, or don't. It's entirely up to you. And I will see you for the next video. Toodaloo.